Hi, I'm Selena, and in this episode I'm going to be taking a look at homemade purees versus store-bought. On my channel Healthy Bub Grub, I'm going to be showing you how to prepare healthy and nutritious food for your baby from when they first start solids right through to family meals. I'll also be taking you along for the ride on my little girl's food journey so that you can see what she's eating along the way. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure that you hit that like button, and a big thank you to all of the people who have subscribed to my channel. By subscribing to my channel, your support means that I can keep on making these videos for you, so thanks. As always, if you're concerned about allergies, please seek the advice of an appropriate healthcare professional. Okay, let's go take a look. The first comparison we're going to be looking at is homemade chickpea, corn and carrot versus store-bought puree. The purpose of this video is to show you how to make these pouches at home to reduce waste and make them as healthy as possible. We'll start by peeling the carrots and trimming off both ends. As always, make sure you've washed your vegetables before you begin, and then I'm going to quarter and halve and then finely dice the carrots. Any scraps can then go into the compost. Add them to a small saucepan covered with water, and then we're going to place it on the stove over high heat and bring to the boil. Whilst the carrots are coming to the boil, use a small serrated knife to remove the corn kernels from the cob. Then we're going to add those to the carrots once the water is boiling. Once the water is boiling, reduce it to a simmer and let it simmer away for about 15 to 20 minutes until the vegetables are nice and soft. Make sure the chickpeas have been drained and rinsed before adding. Reserve some of the cooking water and then drain the rest away. Add the vegetables along with the chickpeas to a jug or a bowl and start to blend, adding in water as needed to get it to a nice smooth consistency. As you can see with the ingredients that I've used, you do get far more than 120 grams that the pouches come in, so you can freeze any excess like I have, and that will keep in the freezer for up to 3 months. I've portioned out 120 grams to show you how much you get in the pouch. So with our first comparison, you can see that the homemade version is far more vibrant and looks a lot more appetizing than the pouch. The pouch consists mainly of water with only 24% vegetables, and there's a lot of waste with the packaging as none of it can be recycled. So with the packaging and the list of ingredients, it's listed in order of what is the highest quantity. So as you can see, water is the main ingredient for this particular puree, and further down the list of ingredients, it's been bulked up a little bit with brown rice. So now let's take a look at the homemade version. It's 100% vegetables, it's made fresh, it has no preservatives, the scraps are compostable and you can recycle the can. And finally, here is the cost for comparison per 120 grams. Next, let's compare apple, strawberry and passion fruit, homemade versus store-bought. I'll start by making a simple apple puree. I'm using 4 apples so that I get a good amount, as I'll be using some of this puree in another recipe. I'll start by peeling and coring the apples, then halving and quartering them and dicing them. Add the apple to a small saucepan and cover with water. Place over high heat and bring to the boil. Once boiling, turn the heat to low and pop on a lid and let it simmer for about 15 minutes until the fruit is soft and the liquid has reduced. Next, blend until smooth. Add a good portion of the apple to a container, and then with a small strainer, strain through the passion fruit so that you've got the pulp remaining but the juice is being added to the apple. Next, trim and chop the strawberries and add to the apple and passion fruit, then blend until smooth. As you can see, I'll have more than 120 grams here, so any excess can be popped into a freezer mold and frozen in an airtight container for up to 3 months. So I've portioned out roughly 120 grams to show you the comparison, and as you can see I've got about 200 grams left over to freeze. With the colour comparison, you can see that the pouch looks quite brown and the homemade version is very vibrant and appetizing. This particular pouch actually did contain 100% fruit, however you do still have a lot of waste with the packaging that can't be recycled. As you can see, there are no preservatives or additives in this pouch. So with the homemade comparison, as you can see, it's 100% fruit, made fresh, no preservatives, and it's all compostable waste. For cost comparison, you can see that the homemade version scrapes in 3 cents cheaper per 120 grams. Is that yum? And now the all-important taste test. You want more? What do you say?
Please.
Good girl. Alright, that's enough. For the next puree, we are comparing mango and yogurt that also contains some apple. So let's start by cutting the cheeks off the mango, removing the skin and any other remaining flesh, scooping out the flesh and then dicing it and adding it to a container. Now I'm going to add some leftover apple puree that I made previously, about a tablespoon's worth. Now I'm going to add a few spoonfuls of yogurt, about a half a cup's worth. Then with your blender, mix up until nice and smooth. I'm just using natural yogurt and I've just added a little more as I've gone along just to get the consistency nice and smooth. Once again, I'm portioning out about 120 grams for comparison, and as you can see, I've got quite a bit left over. This puree will keep in the fridge for up to 2 days in a sealed container. So with the colour comparison, you can see that the pouch is very vibrant yellow in colour compared to the puree that I've made. However, I did add quite a lot of yogurt to mine, so that's why it's lost some of that vibrant colour. So as you can see, this pouch only contains 59% mango. It contains preservatives and additives, and again we've got waste with the packaging. And as you can see from the list of ingredients, there's a lot more making up this pouch than just mango and yogurt with a bit of apple. And with the homemade version, it's 100% natural. It's made with fresh ingredients with no preservatives, and the scraps are compostable and the yogurt packaging can be recycled. And finally, here is the cost for comparison per 120 grams. As you can see, my little girl loved this one and it made a really great snack. Now let's compare banana and apple porridge puree. I'm using some quick oats, apple puree, banana and cinnamon. Start by placing about 1/4 cup of oats in a small saucepan and cover with about 1/2 cup or so of water. Add to the stovetop and bring to a simmer. While the oats are on the stove, mash up 1/2 banana with a fork, and then you can add that to the oats and stir through. Next, add in the apple puree and a sprinkle of cinnamon and remove from heat. Next, place in a jug and blend until smooth. I've measured out 120 grams for comparison, and there's a tiny bit left over. In comparison, colour-wise, the pouch is very similar to the homemade version. The store-bought version contains preservatives, additives, and again, packaging waste. Going by the list of ingredients on the back of the pouch, they've actually used more brown rice than what they have oats for this porridge. The homemade version is 100% natural, made fresh with no preservatives and compostable waste, and the jar can be recycled. And finally, here is the cost for comparison per 120 grams. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it interesting taking a look at store-bought versus homemade purees. And I hope that you can see that it's not too difficult to make purees for your baby at home. It's healthier for them, and it also is doing your bit for the environment by saving on waste. If you did enjoy today's video, please let me know in the comments. And if you have any other feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again. Hi, I'm Selena, and today I'm going to be taking a look at homemade purees. Well, I hope you found today's